Hi, I'm Jeremy. I wanted to talk with you about the education system. I saw a video from Tim Pool with parents at Loudon County or the Loudon School District, where all these parents came in protest of critical race theory. One of them has a sign that they're holding up saying, stop teaching our children to hate, or something along those lines. Let me take a look at that. It's actually I'll pull it up. There it is. Stop teaching our kids to hate. Yeah. And it's because we have all this nonsense going on with the government. This is just a random picture that I pulled up here. Mission statement. Children are the future. Okay, I don't need a cliche or a platitude. And Rosela School District is dedicated to the success of all children. That's vague. That means nothing. Success to what? Success to their athletic career, their art career, their technical career. What are you talking about? Their critical race theory agendas? Well, what are you talking about? It's extremely vague. It's just, to the success of all children. You know what? Children want some really stupid things. If you leave it to children, they'll eat cake and ice cream all day long. Well, what are you talking about? It's just a bunch of buzzwords that have no meaning behind them whatsoever. And then it continues to get stupid. We will partner with staff, students, parents, and community. It's like, well, this is obviously not Loudon because they are not partnering with parents and community. And it's because they don't have to. They're not the boss. The boss is all these federal government employees instead of the parents and the community. And partnering with students and staff, it's like, that's not what I see. What I see is the staff dictating to students all of this propaganda nonsense. Provide a safe and nurturing educational environment. Okay, well, how and what do you mean by safe and what do you mean by nurturing? Because you hear all this crap about participation trophies. It's like, that is not safe and that is not nurturing. You want to know why? Because life is filled with failures all the time. You will fail more than you succeed. An example is that whenever you go and you play a game, any kind of game, whether it's a real casual game or a real serious game, there's only going to be one winner. Everyone else is going to be a loser. They're not going to win. They're going to lose out with boyfriends and girlfriends where they're going to break up. They're going to lose people in their lives who are just going to die. They're going to lose whenever they get into accidents or they get sick. They're going to lose their jobs. They're going to lose whenever they go in for job interviews. They might lose their business if they start one up because it's like only 1 in 5 businesses succeed or something like that. A lot of them fail. And it's even worse for restaurants. It's like 1 in 10 succeed and the other 9 fail. Is something like that. And so it happens constantly. So how dare you give my child a participation trophy? How dare you take away their right to lose? Because these people who are really successful, they're not successful because they expect to win. They're successful because they get the hell up and they keep going and they keep doing it all the time. And if you ever watch these shows like Shark Tank or whatever, where it's got these really rich people, they'll talk about the same kind of general outline all the time, where they're just getting kicked and stomped and being told no constantly, and they fail at this, but they keep working at it and they tweak it and they make it even better until they hit success. It's not this nonsense. How dare they take that away from any child? You're going to lose a hell of a lot more than what you'll win. What you need to learn is to not give up. Even with these sports that they play, it's like nobody's stupid. They know that, yep, one team won and the other lost. And the message should be, That's okay that you lost. Not okay that you participated. Screw that. Everybody participates in something because here we are. We're all participating in something. So don't give me this crap of participation. You're not providing children a safe place. You're allowing them to keep all this pent up and not dealing with the fact that they lost. And that doesn't nurture them at all. So what do you mean? Educate all students to become self-sufficient, lifelong learners. I guess I'll agree to that a little bit, but there should be more to it than just that. I mean, it's nonsense because they've taken all this stuff and they've shrunk it down to one word. No. Empowered all students to be competent, productive, and responsible, caring citizens. Okay, well, I actually like that. All students to be competent, productive, responsible, caring citizens. Yeah, I'll go with that. And so Tim Pool here has a video called Parents Arrested as Loudon County School Meeting Erupts Over Parents Protesting to Critical Race Theory. We're winning. So before we go any further, if you too are tired of the runaround and you want to know what the truth is, that you're tired of the lies and the manipulation and the corruption with government and politicians and all the money mishandling that's going on, then give this video a like, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, become a member. I've got Patreon and Subscribe Star. So let's go ahead and get into it here. And we'll watch just a little bit, but I'll have the link in the description below, so if you want to watch the video in its entirety, you can.
Last night in Loudon County, parents protesting critical race theory indoctrination were singing the Star-Spangled Banner as a protest song. A couple people were arrested. One man was arrested for trespassing because he refused to back down on...
And look at this. It looks like the room is packed. This makes no sense to me. It never has. That why is the school board here not answerable to the parents? I've never understood this. Why are they getting their orders, their marching orders, from Washington, from people who they don't know, who they've never met? They don't know anything about anybody who's here. None of these politicians know these people and what they're going through at all. So what are you talking about? It's nonsense.
Until he had his ability to speak and challenge what was happening in these schools. Last night, we also hosted Steve Bannon on the Tim...
And I don't know about Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon's he's claiming that these people are winning in all these areas, and it's like... I don't know if I like Steve Bannon. I'm kind of on the fence because some things it's like it's complete garbage, and some things it's like, no, it's kind of all right. But he didn't say... I haven't watched his appearance on here, but it's probably plenty of little platitudes and nonsense or whatever. So up above my head here, I have one of these word pads that I use. And this one is just with the charter schools voucher program. I think I'm going to have folders inside folders for all this stuff. So this would go under like school system, and then you would have charter schools and then voucher programs, because those are two different things. They are closely related. But as always with these is that I'm not trying to change anyone's mind about all this stuff. I'm just trying to show that there are lies, whether if it's intentional or not, that this is just a bunch of manipulation and control by the government and people in power to do a bunch of really horrible, stupid things, and we could be doing so much better. And a lot of it has to do with that we're just not doing technology like we should. And so I'm just leaving it open to you and to bring more information so we can talk it over and to actually get somewhere based off of facts and evidence and not feelings and emotions. that I want to bring the most accurate, up-to-date information that we currently have possible right now. And with technology, we can do this, but it's not. And so I'm not going to go into what charter schools vouchers and all this is. I've got other videos that deal with this. And I am going to move down to, okay, because I don't want to just talk about this stuff. I want to talk about what could actually be done. I'm not going to be like Tim Pool, where all we're going to do is just talk about this nonsense all day long, spinning these wheels and not having anything to result in it. I will definitely do this. And as we get bigger with all this stuff, we're going to implement this stuff. And we're just, and we don't need the government to do this crap, at least not a lot of it. And I know how to deal with it where they are going to get involved, because it's, I tell you what, whenever one domino falls, they just keep all falling down. So I was curious about the mission statement that the federal government has for the education system, because that should be a clear sign as to the do's and don'ts. And guess what I found? A bunch of platitudes, a bunch of buzzwords, a bunch of nonsense that just doesn't mean a damn thing. And the misallocation of power. There was a podcast with Jordan Peterson and Senator Mike Lee, where Senator Mike Lee talked about how at the beginning, back in the day, the government was putting a stronger emphasis on doing things at the lowest level possible, because they're the only ones that they know what's going on. So your area, it's not going to be able to produce every kind of fruit and vegetable and meat product out there. But the ones that it is, you know, you're going to have lower prices on that stuff. And the only people who are going to know how to deal with that, it's going to be your community. And how much is it going to cost to ship it to other places? Because we don't live in a plain vanilla world where everything's the same and everything's different. Because everything's different, whether if you live in a desert, a flatland, mountainous, and you have different resources, everything's different. That means there's no flat standard way to handle all these things. It's going to vary. So I found, so what a mission statement is, it's a formal summary of the aims and values of a company, organization, or individual. And here it is. The U.S. Department of Education. Mission. The Education Department's mission is to promote student achievement and preparation for global competitiveness? What? By fostering educational excellence and ensuring equal access? Damn it, dude. What do farmers need to do with global competitiveness? Where do they fit into that? If things are really going well for the whole world, then a lot of this, they should be getting the majority of their food pretty locally. We shouldn't be shipping our food over to China or to Africa. You know, only the really rare things that are in different climate zones should that happen. So why this? Well, why is that in there? With small businesses, what do they need with global competitiveness? That they don't. This is geared towards big business and big government. What about everyone else? Do you know that 80% of the economy is off of small businesses? Now, I don't know if that's actually true because of COVID, because they closed everything down. They said that nonsense about it's not essential. It's like, what are you talking about? Money is essential. How are you going to get food and be able to pay for everything if you don't have a job? Made absolutely no sense. Stupid clown world nonsense. I'll put it that way. By fostering educational excellence. What do you mean by educational excellence? Are you talking about study habits? Are you talking about test grades? Are you talking about athleticism? What are you talking about? Because it's not all of it. It can't be everything. But it's vague. Too vague. And in some cases, being vague is okay. It depends on what it is. And maybe in this situation, it is. Fucking. Sorry. And then it has kind of the history, the laws that Congress established the U.S. Department of Education in 1980. So what did we do before then? I was born then, and it's like, it was, I don't know what that's in reference to. I don't know if I'm going to look it up either, because I don't really know if I care that much. History kind of is good in some cases, and others it's not. It's like, it is what it is, and I want to make things better. I'm not looking to destroy it, because if you got rid of it, then what? If you don't have something to replace it with, then save that nonsense. That's just stupid. So they have some things. They had a couple things that are good. They have a lot of nonsense. So we're going to go over all these. And this is the current mission statement right here, and then kind of a new one to change things or to leave them or whatever it is. We'll go over all this, because I don't. With Mike Lee, Senator Mike Lee, talking about how you need to address things at the lowest level possible. It's like, yes, this is a great example of this. It's all backwards. Why is this board not responsible to being answered, having to answer themselves to the community? These politicians do not know your children at all. They did not know you. How many politicians from Washington did you ever meet while you were in school? Not a one. What the hell? Makes no sense at all. It's. So how would things be different if they had to answer to these parents? You think things would get better? I don't see why not. If you're not doing your job right. And they're talking about critical race theory, and they say, well, we don't teach that. It's like, no, it's not what you teach per se, as in having books and material, but all your teachers are spouting it as they're teaching their classes. And it's like, no, you can take your ideologies and shove it. Anyways, talks about strengthen the federal commitment to assuring access to equal educational opportunity for every individual. Wrong. This is all wrong. It's not every individual. It should be every U.S. child. Not every individual. Well, what's whenever you, definitely by the time whenever you're 20, it's like you're done. You should not be a 20-year-old going to high school. You're done. You shouldn't be a 20-year-old going to junior high. You shouldn't be a 20-year-old going to elementary. No, there's a cutoff for each one of them. And I would say actually it would be 19, and I have that down here. That should be specific. And I know what they're referring to with this equal educational opportunity. They're talking about minorities. I've never known a time where it wasn't. Whenever they were doing all that civil rights movement, they were talking about putting in like black students in with whites, and somehow magic fairies were going to come fart all over the place, and pixie dust glitter was going to land on everyone. That was going to make everything better just because you put blacks in with whites. It's like, no, it should be based off of your values. That for those who value education, they should be going to one kind of school, whether if you're black, white, male, female, whatever. Doesn't matter. That's not what matters. How much do you value education? So those, or a way you could look at it is for honor roll students, they should be going to their own separate school. For average performing students, they should be going to a different kind of school. And for those who just are not performing well or whatever, they should have their own school too. Then that way, all the teachers and staff and everyone who's there can be specifically trained to deal with that one thing, so they can really focus in and narrow in on just that instead of everything. The teacher should not have to know how to do honor roll classes, average classes, ADHD classes, dyslexia classes, whatever. So, no, just one. Let them become truly professional and focused in one thing and one thing only. It's not diversity. It's not diversity at all. It's specialization. And you can get diversity through specialization by having each school doing whatever those students need. Because it's like an average performing student doesn't need diversity for honors rules class settings. Not at all. Same thing with any kind of student who has some kind of retardation that's going on. That does them no good whatsoever. So you can take that diversity crap and you can go shove it. It's the same thing with diverse cultures. It's like, nope, don't need that either. You know why? Because we live in America and you want American culture. So then that way, whenever these kids grow up, they know what the hell to do. Anyways, moving on. Oh, and I'll leave a link in the description below for the U.S. Educational Mission Statement right here, so you can read up on it yourself. Supplement and complement the efforts of states. No, you should not. You should mind your own damn business. The states govern themselves. You should have absolutely nothing to do with that. The local school systems and other instrumentalities of the states. Nope, none of your business. The private sector, which you do not do. So I don't know why that's in there, because you don't give the private sector money that I'm aware of. I mean, some, if they're really, really rich, they do. Public and private nonprofit. If they're nonprofit educational research institutions, it's like, then why are you giving them money? They don't need that. That's something that's completely different. Community-based organizations. No, the community does not need a bunch of politicians for a damn thing. Parents and students to improve the quality of education. No. They actually do get it a little later on in this. Encourage the increased involvement of the public, parents, and students in federal education programs, but they have no link. They don't list what these programs are, so I have nothing to say on that. Maybe they're good, maybe they're bad. I'm going to say most of them are going to be bad. I think that's kind of an obvious, because that's the way the government is with all this stuff. Promote improvements in the quality and usefulness of education through federal supported research, evaluation, and sharing of information. Yes, absolutely. This one they knock out of the park. Each state should be like a testing research facility where they should be trying out whatever methods that they want to, getting the results, and then all these results need to be collected from each state and shared with everyone. That is exactly what the federal government should be doing. And they should say, all right, well, these states are doing really well. These states are really sucking really bad. Here's some things that we've noticed, or here's the information, and you can decide for yourself. And then that way the states can adjust as they want. Because what are parents going to do? They're going to look at the absolute best and be like, I want that. The kids over here are doing the best out of the entire nation. What are they doing? I don't. Shut the hell up, board member. You can shut your damn mouth. You've been here for years, and we've been underperforming, and they've got it. So you can either shut your damn mouth, and you can start doing some of this stuff that they do, or we're all going to vote you out of there. That's the way it should be. Absolutely 100%. Do not tell me what my kids need to be doing and not doing. I do not care about some politicians and some federal program. I want to know what they're doing. I don't care if it's public or private or whatever. It's like they've got it. And I want to duplicate as much as we can possibly do with that. Yeah, so sharing that information, sharing the research, and evaluating all. Yes, absolutely. That one's great. Improve the coordination of federal education programs. Again, there's no links. What programs are they referring to? I would say that they're a complete failure with this, because I don't know of any of these federal programs. And even though I don't have kids, all my friends and family members have kids, and they don't ever talk about this crap at all. So, and whenever I was a kid going through, I don't know what they were offering. So yeah, complete failure there. You know, because it would be different if it was up to the communities to go over this and say, oh, look at what we have here. We have this from the city, from the state, from the federal, from nonprofits, from wherever. Improve the coordination and the management of federal education activities. No, you should not be involved. I don't care what it is. Federal education activities. No. This one, the federal education should not have any activities. They should not be involved in anything besides gathering information. That's it. And then sharing that information. All of it, every last bit of it. There should be no top secret stuff. It should all be 100% transparency. Increase the accountability of federal education programs to the President, Congress, and the public. What are you talking about? Well, specifically, what are you talking about? It sounds really nice, but without some kind of link to click on to see what they're specifically talking about. So what do you have to do? You have to manually look at all this. And I'll probably get to that sometime. I can't imagine why I wouldn't. So what should a new mission statement look like? And this is, allows every U.S. child between the ages of roughly 15 to 19 the opportunity to an education. Yes, not every individual. No, not senior citizens. Not adults. Not non-U.S. citizens. No. U.S. children only. And it should be more specific than this. Whatever the grades are for elementary school, that it should have an age range. Same thing with junior high, and the same thing with high school. And then after 19, it's like, well, you're going to go get your GED. Or you're going to have to do tutoring or something, but it's like, after 19, it's like, no, you're not going back on the high school grounds. You're done. Supplies every said child with vouchers which can be used in any educational setting by the parents or guardians of the child. So specifically, this gives everyone the chance to go to a private school instead of just the rich. All school money gets gathered up and equally divided to every student. So this is something that, yes, we want every kid, no matter where they're living in the U.S., to have the same amount of money, of resources, to have equal competitiveness with everyone everywhere. And so in order to do that, yeah, that is something that the states couldn't do. It would, because there are rich states and poor states. They're not all the same. And it's like, no, we want to raise the IQ of the entire nation. We want to help all kids. All school money gets gathered up and equally divided to every student. No more private donations to individual schools. No more favors to rich schools by rich donors. They all share in the same financial problems. That's crap. You know, these schools that are public schools, they do like bake sales and community sales or whatever because they don't have enough money. It's like, why? That should be that way for every single school. Public, private, Catholic, charter schools, it doesn't matter. This is one of the times where there's kind of a socialist mentality, and that is we provide equally for every single student there. Period. No more favoritism. No more the rich getting away with more stuff because they're rich, because they want to give their children more because they have more and they want, If the public schools are not getting as much and they're lacking, then it's something that everyone's going to have to agree to. No more, oh, well, I'm rich and so I'm going to buy new uniforms for all the students, or I'm going to buy new computers for everyone at the school because that's where my kid. No, absolutely not. No more edge up for the select. It's everyone suffers equally with this. So I believe in socialist programs with one group of people, which can be divided up into subgroups, and that is people who are mentally incapable of taking care of themselves. And so the groups that follow underneath that are senior citizens in cognitive decline, people who are mentally disabled either through birth or some kind of head trauma, and children. And then there's others like people who just had too many drugs and they fried their brains. but these three main groups right here. And we do things for them. It's like, this is why we have schools for children. This is why we have retirement communities for senior citizens. This is why we still have some mental institutions out there. And these programs and these things should not be held back. We should be doing what we can. Because like people who are mentally handicapped, the answer is not let them roam aimlessly on the streets until they commit some kind of crime and then we throw them in prison. No, it should be more like a senior citizens retirement home where we put them in a community sheltered from the predators that are out there who want to abuse them sexually or get them addicted to drugs or alcoholism or what. No. If they're incapable of surviving on their own and having a job and providing for themselves, then yes, we as a community do need to step up and to take care of these people responsibly. So, but it's not just letting them out there on the streets. And so since kids are definitely this way, and I'm in my 40s, they're dumb. Whenever I was that age, I didn't think that way. Whenever I was in my 20s, I didn't think that way. Whenever I was in my 30s, it was like, it started to change. Now in my 40s, it's like, yeah, they're absolutely stupid. You know why? Part of it is that I can look at 20-year-olds, and 20-year-olds look dumb. They do and say stupid things all the time. But at the time, I didn't think that. At the time, I was just like, no, I'm a smart person. I know, and it's, no, I don't know. I didn't know nearly enough. But I didn't know it at the time. I have a much clearer view of it now that I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and it's like, burn that damn shirt because it was wrong. And I'm sure it's still this way today. I'm sure that in 10 and 20 years from now, I'll be looking back and be like, yeah, I was a dumb 40-year-old. I can't imagine that it stops. Unless if I happen to go into some kind of cognitive decline, such as getting some kind of Alzheimer's or something like that at some point in time, which could happen. My grandmother did have it, but she was one out of the 4 grandparents. So hopefully that eludes me and it doesn't become an issue. So yeah, this is kind of a financial thing. It's like, yes, it needs to be financial equal grounds for all over, no special privileges for anybody, anywhere, no matter what, because it is not these children's fault that their parents are poor or stupid or any of that, and they all should have equal rights to all this stuff. And so all this stuff up here about access to equal educational opportunity for every U.S. student, it's like, no, you're not. Because if you don't have the financial situation, which is more important than any of this, because you should not mention race, sex, color, national origin, that should not be a factor at all. And whenever you mention it, then you've made it that way. It should be every U.S. student, every single U.S. child. That's it. Nothing else matters. Then they have the right, not just the right, but the mandatory forced obligation to go to school. Because what I don't want is I don't want these kids to grow up without an education, then they can't do a damn thing, and then they're on social benefits because they didn't learn a damn thing. And then I did copy and paste this one. I thought they had this one really well. It's not to say that it's perfect, but of all the ones that they did, this one was like promote improvements in the quality and usefulness of education through federal support research, and yes, off of facts, data, evidence, evaluation, and the sharing of information. Nothing should be secret. %100% transparency. So I want to know about all the research. I want to know about all the money and where it's going and where it's being spent. All of it. And then giving strict, clear measurements for acceptable levels of completion for each grade, which will be done through standardized national testing for basic and honor level students. Below average students will be required to retake the grade level again until basic levels are met. And this is real vague too. Maybe you could say, well, they passed everything except for this one class, so we're going to go ahead and let them go up. Maybe they failed like PE. It's like, well, we're not going to hold them back because of PE. It would depend. Well, I guess you could say it would be the next part is that they have to meet all the standard requirements. Above average standards can be required by any state, city, or individual school. It's up to them. It's up to your state. It's up to your city. It's up to that individual school. Whatever kind of standards that you want. If you want to keep the federal standards, that's fine. But if you're like, well, no, I want as much as I can possibly get, great, more power to you. Go knock yourself out. And then all schools will focus on STEM. And if you don't know what that stands for, it's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. American culture, American economics, and American government. And not this diversity crap. You want to know why? Because there's hundreds of other nations, currencies, languages, cultures out there. What do you need to know more? So for example, whenever I was going through school, we had to take a second language. So I took French. You know why? Because I didn't want to learn Spanish. Because it's like those people who are coming from Mexico, it's like, great, come. But I'm not learning Spanish to accommodate you. You came here. If I went to Mexico, it's like, yes, I should be forced to learn how to speak Spanish. So I learned French. And you know what that's done? Nothing. It's done absolutely nothing for me. I don't hardly remember any of it. You know what? Because nobody uses it. It was a waste of time. The whole thing was a complete waste of time. Because even if I learned Spanish, I've been going 40 plus years without knowing Spanish, and everything's been fine. And everything would be even better if they forced every single damn U.S. citizen to learn English. Now, I'm not saying that you can't learn Spanish. You want to learn Spanish? Go ahead, knock yourself out. You move over from Mexico and you want to keep using Spanish? Fine, go ahead. Knock yourself out. I don't give a damn. Fine, more power to you. But you're living here, so you need to learn English too. And it's the same thing with American economics and the government. It's like, these are the things that we do. Here's why. So now as an adult, you can go do all these things. I want every single student, every single citizen to have equal opportunity with this stuff. And you will never have it if nobody ever explains any of this stuff to you. This is absolutely bigotry. Whenever they don't do this for Mexicans who come on over and they don't learn this stuff, then you're being bigoted towards Mexicans. It's like, no, they need to know it all. I don't want them to be hindered. I want them to have every opportunity available to them. In part because I don't want them taking any more money out of taxes to pay for these programs because they can't get a job, because they can't even read and write or speak English. That's stupid. You know why it's stupid? Because there's a clear and obvious answer to it, and that is learn English and learn what it means to be an American. It's like, how are you going to be very successful if you don't know how to get a car loan because you can't go to a bank, because you don't know about the economic system, or a house loan or student loan or any of those other things, to get a small business loan? How are you going to be able to do that stuff? And the same thing with the government. If you left Mexico, there's a good chance that you don't like the Mexican government. So, okay, great. So what is it that the American government is doing? And what are the things that you don't like and do like? What are the things that you left behind? So in that way, you know not to repeat those things. Stupid. You should be set up so that whenever you're done, you should be a registered voter. So you can go vote on all of these things. And this crap about having to go back and renew your voter registration, no. You should be a registered voter no matter what. Are you a U.S. citizen? Then you're a registered voter. Unless if you're like in federal prison or state prison or something like that. I mean, a couple of exceptions, but for the most part, it's like, no, you don't need to have a driver's license. No. You become a registered voter one time. There's no renewal of that. No renewal. And then other requirements can be set by states, cities, or individual schools. Again, So if you want to have things like athletic programs or even social justice programs, arts, band, foreign languages, whatever, I mean, you can have those things, but the core stuff that every single school, everywhere, it's going to be STEM, reading, writing, arithmetic, science, biology, mathematics, algebra, government. And then if you want to have some elective classes, it's like, well, yeah, okay, that's fine. And those elective classes should be based off of your community. So, for example, here in Texas, where I live, we're surrounded by farms and ranches. So for our elective classes, we might want to have it be agricultural based because that's what we have here. If you're living in Silicon Valley, it might be more of an IT thing. I don't know. What do you have going on there with you? I can't answer that. I don't know. Just like with any other politician. Politicians from other states can't answer that, and neither can the politicians from Washington, D.C. It just drives me up the wall with all this clownness of some people just treat these politicians like they're God, and that because they're a politician that they just have all the answers, and the government's just, no, it's just people. It's just you, me, and everyone else. You can go and be a politician yourself. Or are you special because of it? No. You're just a person who's decided to go and do that. So, yes, this is what I want. I want to not just cry and complain about these things. I want policies. I want changes in the system. I want more freedom and liberties. I don't want people telling me what to do, or my children, or my extended family, or friends, or any of that. All my friends and family have unique circumstances. They're not the same. So, and the same thing with you. And it's 100% obvious and clear. So what do you think? I'm trying to bring you the best information that we currently have, which I cannot do at all because there's no way I'm going to be an expert. I'm not going to be a principal, a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor, an electrician, a plumber, a mechanic, a nuclear engineer, a physicist. I can't be everything. So whenever I get the website up and going, it'll be everybody bringing the best information possible. It's the only way that it can be done. And I know the way to do it accurately because Wikipedia is like nuts and it's stupid and it's crap, and I know exactly what to do. So if you too are tired of this, because this is lies. This what they have here is just a bunch of buzzwords and a bunch of meaningless drivel. So if you too are tired of the lies and you want more power and more say over all this stuff, then give the video a like, a thumbs up, subscribe, become a member. Got Patreon and Subscribe Star. That would help me out the most because I would love to get away from YouTube and Patreon and have my own stuff up now. But got to do that grind first. So thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you again later. Bye.